Hey guys, sorry it's been so long since I've recorded a match. So I'd had a bunch, well not a bunch. I had a couple games that I played, ranked matches. Before this hot fix, and they were all losses. I I'm lagging pretty bad down here in Peru. It's pretty hit and miss. Some games I lag like a lot, and other games I'm not lagging that much. And other times it's just like stuttery type stuff, so I can't micro, and just it's kind of just weird. So it's definitely not making me want to play too much. It's kind of like I don't know, hard to play when it's like that. But I did have a few games before the hot fix. These are these. I guess there's two victories here. I wonder if these are the ones. Yeah, I don't know what these two victories. I can't even remember them. But I had a bunch of defeats here, playing against some buddies actually, that are actually pretty good. And it was kind of cool just kind of being able to. Or are they still saved? Oh, I thought the hotfix got rid of them. Oh yeah, so I lost against Rob and then Zerdehart, and these are players that I've actually played and actually beaten before, and it just kind of sucks. I was like lagging and not able to micro properly, and it's just really tough. Um, but we'll just kind of do some of these matches that are just kind of quicker matches that just kind of worked out well, where the build order went fine. Even though like there were certain things like the build order went fine, but it was still slow. It was like lagging. So we'll see this right here, right off the rip. This game wasn't super lagging because I was able to move almost at the correct timing, which is big. We're playing against Lord Dim Dim. He's playing abbasid. This is marshland, so we're just trying to go. You can see spawn wise, he's got really safe wood lines. So he's got a safe base, a pretty safe base, because he can wall that really easy. And he can wall this off, so he can have this pull back area to himself, which is another berry patch. But the front of his base is super open, and he's got front stone, front gold. So this is really ideal for us for raiding. If we had drushed, this would have been a good spawn for us, but we didn't. So we are just trying to find where he is on the map. We do run into his scout, so we're trying to double back and not to lose too many sheep. I guess I could have just went to where his side directly. Might have been a better trade off, but I don't know. I was ready to garrison here. But he does a really good job seeing the TC and reacting just outside of range. So he's a pretty good player. I think after the game,
His APM. And the APM count on AoE4 is a little bit wonky because it's hard to tell exactly what it's counting.
because certain things are more spammable than others. And I'm sure he was just spamming like crazy because he had got an APM of like I think 270 or 260. Just for comparison, Beastie's APM typically is around 220. Obviously, Beastie's real APM is around 400, but in terms of AoE 4 and what it registers, it's usually around 220, 200. So 220, 240, I'd say. So even though he took a bunch of sheep from us, like on our side of the map, we are at least cutting in front of him over here and picking up these sheep from his side. It is just a little bit unfortunate that this side was fairly empty compared to the other side, so we're not going to get a great sheep haul. And we do have enough sheep here to be able to do our build up here, our age up without issue. And we are starting to collect wood, so we're looking to do our fast H2 and military production here. And you can see a little bit of idle time on the con here. But his scout is basically running through everywhere that we've already ran through. And he's not going to pick up any more sheep with this scout. Just okay, considering he's already picked up 10. He's picked up a huge amount of sheep. And he is on berries. I do feel like his age of time was a little bit off. And we're just running around his base. We're seeing now the layout of his base here. And kind of what he's got going. Because we know it's somewhere in here where his base should be. So we're just gonna scouting out. Oh, I'm over here looking at the mini, not looking at the main screen. My bad. We know his base is over here, but we knew that his scout was kind of following us is over there. So, and we also know that his scout, we ran into him. Pretty much right here, we ran into his scout, and we saw him move up this way. So we're gonna assume that he hasn't hit this back corner yet with the scout, which he hadn't. But there wasn't really many sheep in this back corner either. So he gets the strong 2/3 of the sheep, if not a little bit more. 2/3, let's say. It's a really good sheep haul for him, and the sheep denial is really big too. So we're gonna finish tapping up here, and we didn't go for Keshiks. Kind of figured that he would go for Spearman as Abbasid, so we're gonna decide to go with Mangudai and rush up our Mangudai. We are fast tapping up this archery range to get it up as soon as possible with 4 villagers, because we have the resources for instant production, so we tap up as fast as we can. We should have gotten this production out probably another 5 seconds. Excuse me, sooner. And we're just finishing scouting out what we hadn't scouted out. We do find 2 more sheep over here. So there's just a tiny little pocket that we hadn't scouted out yet. So it's makes our sheep a little bit better than 8. So definitely a lot more workable. He's gonna go finish scouting out the side of the map that he hasn't touched yet. And we're coming across with the Mangudai. He did go military wing, so he's got 2 archers and 2 spearmen. And this is kind of like the meta build in terms of stopping Mongol tower rush. So I'm guessing a lot of people are still tower rushing for an abbasid player to go into military wing. Typically, you're going to see them want to go for boom, and that's what he's doing here. He's going for a boom play, and the idea is to be able to defend it with the military wing. So it's not as greedy, but not being as greedy actually might be detrimental in this case. So we see that he's got military wing because we know this 2/2 is almost guaranteed military wing. So we're just kind of skirmishing here, doing our best to fight this. We have to be really careful with this Mangudai. Archers do 5 damage. So this guy is basically 4 shots away from death. But we've got more Mangudai coming over, so we're going to do our best to bait these guys forward. The sooner we stop this stone, the better. We know we've only got a little bit of time. Another 70 to stop before he's out. For enough for his TC. And our Mangudai is basically 2 shots. So it's 1 shot for these 2 archers. So we're just going to kite him, keep him out of the fight. We do draw him in as bait. And I'll trade this 1 Mangudai so I can take out both archers. Maybe it's not worth, maybe it's the wrong play, I don't know. But I felt like it was worth to make him commit to that. Behind this we do have a stable up, we're building a scout immediately, and then we're building more Mangudai. And so the big thing that we're going for here, we can basically see the outlet of his base. You know there's a wood line here, there's gold, there's stone, and then this barrier over here. We see him tapping up this tower. I should have dove over here, there we go, we're coming in. Because we can see the TC range, hopefully. We're out of TC range, basically. Just out of it, just on the fringe of it. So we're able to do some damage here, which is nice. So killing a villager helps to keep us, or helps to try to put us ahead. And behind us, we got Mangudais, we got scouts. And this time, what I tried doing was, I put a villager off of food. And what I'm doing, behind us, we've got a blacksmith. We're going up to the market. I don't know, maybe instead of the blacksmith, it might have been worth an additional villager. And just 1 second here. So this is kind of a weird part of the game. Let's see. Just a regular Mangudai. Let's go to Dim Dims. Okay, so he has scouted pretty much the whole map over here. And then where was the Whaler? The Whaler was over here, so you can't see it in the fog of war. So he looked for it and found it really fast. We'll go back to caster mode real quick. Um, so basically we've confirmed. We confirmed that he's got an archery range and he's got a barracks. So he's gonna be able to put troops out and kind of fight us now. And what we wanted to do was tower this stone and tower this gold and kind of make a fight over this. One thing I'd like to point out that because he didn't go eco wing, um, he's not getting second TC. Did he get Fertile Crescent Agriculture and Food Processing? So he already got. Okay, so he did get his upgrade for his villagers, even though he's only 1 TC. I was gonna say, it's actually, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but making it so you only need like that 3 villagers instead of 4 for to keep constant production is actually really big. It's actually like 2 and like a quarter villagers. So he did get this upgrade. I can't remember what it is. Fresh foodstuffs, I believe. So he does a really good, like he does a good job doing that. And I was playing abbasid yesterday, just screwing around in quick matches, and I had 7 villagers on food. I was producing from 2 TCs, and I was producing from a range, two ranges full time. So it's really impressive. It was 2 or 4 ranges. There's a ton of ranges. How little food you can have, and how much infantry you can crank out. So it's one big thing with the abbasid is sometimes you think you're doing a good job denying their food and whatnot, but they are able to crank out a lot of units. And right now he's at 12 on food. I think he might be a little bit mismacroed here actually. But yeah, it's really interesting how much they can do. Over here we do have a scout that spots a villager. I'm like, why is he sending a villager out? That's kind of weird. We did have a couple of Mangudai nearby. So we're gonna pick off this villager, no problem. And then I just kind of look in line where the villager was, picking off a couple wolves here, and we do see the wild man. So that's kind of what we did. Once we see the wild man, we do put one villager off that way. I don't know from where, but eventually we'll put one. We did find the wild man, so he did a really good job of like trying to go for it early, but we were able to find it before he could do anything. He's bringing more villagers over to stone because he wants to go for his second TC. He was really close. We just barely denied him it. And now comes the big thing. We're tapping up this tower, and we're gonna try to get some more pressure on. But now he's building military, so his wood count's a little bit messed up. So we're putting this pressure on. Here comes our villager to get the wild man boon. It's an interesting concept. At first I really didn't like the wild man for ranked games because I felt like it was like, I don't know, too cheesy, like because it's so strong. But at the same time, it's a nice little meta game early on, and it's kind of nice for like me. Like I'm super aggressive, map control, and my opponent's sitting in his base turtling. And what do I get besides map control? I can also get this wild man. Like I can take my bigger army, win the fight, and then I'm rewarded for my aggressive play a little bit. Considering that Turtle is so strong still, Boom is so strong still, I feel like this isn't it's not like it's kind of interesting. I do end up I have kind of ended up liking the Wildman boon. In terms of water and the turtle, sea dragon turtle or whatever, I'm still kind of impartial. So here's the next big thing is we're able to deny his gold and we're able to deny his stone. He is a little bit short on stone. Don't know what he did because he had villagers on stone. It looks like he messed up and he never turned them in. He just like ran them away and then he put them on something else. We are diving with a couple of horsemen just to kind of see what's going on in his face. A little bit of a missed micro there. That's okay. Behind us we wrapped around to shut down this next stone. And I'm curious. Okay, so he was gonna go drop a gold mine over on the side there. And we're just wrapping around. We're just doing our rotations here, and he upholds his villagers, and we actually hadn't noticed this. That was the crazy part. We were so busy kind of doing other things and macroing on this side with our knights microing. We didn't notice that he was pulling those villagers and he ran into us. So he did call us a cheater and he's gonna report us and things like that. But really incidental. I didn't even realize that that's what he was doing. So I hadn't even noticed that in game. So that's definitely something I could work on a little bit more. Is just a little bit more awareness. But lag was okay in that game. It wasn't super bad, and it was a really short game as well. So it wasn't. Luckily, it wasn't a bunch of instances. Oh, this one was also a really short match. We'll watch it just because it's so short. We're playing against an English player on marshlands, and it's HK Sarkal. So, a little bit of a different build order than what I usually do. So, against English, I used to like to do 2TC, and that's kind of what we're going to go for here. I don't think trade is a bad play at all. But for example, if I had gone trade this game, um, I guess this market is fairly viable. Like from here to there, I would get pretty shitty trade. I'd probably get eight or nine per return. And I'd have to cross map trade this way, but I mean, it's not terrible. It's just it's a lot to defend, and I don't think it's a bad play at all. The whatchamacallit, trade play. I just like I do enjoy the 2TC against English as well. It puts you in a precarious situation. Like if they spot it and they push you, like you have to defend an all in, basically around the 10-minute mark. But if they don't see you, you are now viably like your eco is competitive with theirs. You're not gonna like fall behind too bad because if they go fast second TC, which a lot of English players do, they're up at the 450, 445, 5-minute mark. Excuse me. So how do you stop that? You have to go Dark Age Horseman Rush. But if you're going Dark Age Horseman Rush, and it doesn't work out, you put in a really bad spot. So it's another thing that I was kind of thinking about too, is playing around with a Dark Age Horseman Rush against England. It's just pretty tough just because if they have those 5 villagers like together, it's they're pretty beefy in terms of what the amount of damage they can do to your horsemen. So again, and if you look at the layout here, if we had gold protected, stone protected, wood protected, like this is a great spawn. So for whatever reason on marshland, it likes to spawn kind of safe resources. Sometimes I wouldn't say it's consistent, but I would say it's enough at the time where it like affects. Like if I went Drush, I'd be fucked here. There's nothing. Like if he went second TC, I'd be able to deny the second TC, but I mean, all the time leading up to it would be pretty pointless. So just something just to take note of. Now another thing is our bases are relatively close to each other because I did bring my TC forward quite a bit and planted it. I suppose technically my TC should have been dropped right here, but whatever. So we do have a decent sheep call. We have 6 sheep here, which is okay. It's not the best. Over here, he doesn't have any sheep. He dropped a sheep over here. It looks like he had like 4 sheep on his sheep also. We're just running around scouting, picking up some things. Our wood lines, we got 2 safe wood lines. He's got 2 forward wood lines, but they are kind of fairly nice in shielding his base. He does have one in the back here for easy walling for raids. But yeah, we're just going for our fast 2TC, so you can see the villager spread. We're up to 12 on food. We probably could have gone up to 13 or 14 on food for a little bit faster age of time, but yeah, not a big deal. A little bit of this macro here with our food villagers. We had to pull them off. There we go. And we'll pull them off to wood now, which is good. We're just keeping 4 under food, and now we got 7 on wood. So everyone's gonna be chopping wood. And our wheelbarrow is in, and he's also got his wheelbarrow. So just it's definitely an economic play, but you can see why it's an important thing, and you can see the difference. I guess that's if they rush their TC, like we're not doing a true rush. I guess we're doing a rush, but at the same time we're not because we're going for the wheelbarrow. I just feel like the wheelbarrow pays off dividends. If you go to TC, I'm like, excuse me. I didn't get much sleep, I guess. The wheelbarrow usually pays off for itself for about 5 minutes. So if we're getting our wheelbarrow at 2.5 minutes, Um, we're basically halfway there for this in terms of this thing paying itself off. So that's another thing. It's definitely not a bad thing. Now he does a weird play here. He goes taps up with 7 on council hall. Rushing the council hall. I don't know how good of a idea. I think it's because he was behind on the age up timing, and so that's kind of why he did it. But I feel like I don't know that early. I don't think you're so far behind where you warrant a 7 villager tap up. Like 3 villagers collecting is like in this minute time that's an additional like I don't know 120, 240, probably like 300 resources you could have. So if not more, because he would this age up would be a little bit slower. So I'm not sure. It's just kind of interesting, but he does have he's got a pretty good spread I think right now for production, and he's producing his army. Behind this, we are still we want deer stones, so we're getting faster villagers, and we're collecting as much resources as we can. So we're gonna have enough for our second TC here really soon. And I think I have a little bit of missed macro. I think I clicked it up a little bit wrong, but I think we're gonna attack up with like 8 villagers. So you can see we're at like 950 resources, so a little bit too much. And I think at this point, he sees there isn't any military production. There's just deer stone, one villager on gold, not 2. So I think he does do a good job of reading this play and seeing that it is a 2 TC play. And he might have been going for an aggressive feudal play anyways, but I do think he scouted it, and he made it on the flight decision. Behind this, we're scouting the back of his base with our vision. We have the whole map scouted, but we are scouting the back of his base. We are reaching close to the 7.5 minute mark, so where our wheelbarrow has fully paid for itself, and now it's just straight profit. And it might be actually even faster for us because we have gear stones amplifying. But behind us now, we were behind villagers, and now we're going to start pulling ahead of villagers. We do scout his army over here, proxying on us. We do see, a couple of spearmen, a couple of archers, so we're just going to pull back. We are starting to build a tower here. We want to be able to fight these this incoming push, because we can tell that he's rallying for a push here. So he's kind of re-macroing because he's got a lot of wood, just macroing villagers onto food, and he's just going them onto berries and sheep and farms. So behind this, we're still really heavy on wood, so we can keep producing production. Need some gold villagers to do this as well. Once this wild man starts to land came up, I just started scanning the map. It's kind of weird because you have to scan it kind of like this while you're like playing, and it's not exactly the easiest thing to do. And it's just kind of like tough to like find it. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if I found it before we find it now. We do see him. We don't. I think we see him putting the tower up. Yeah, we see him putting the tower up, but there's nothing I can do about it. He's got more army, and we're just building. We got a Keshik out here. Oh, so here's the wild man. It's over here. All right, so we did find it, and we're sending a Keshik over to go kind of secure that position, and we are sending a villager over. So this is going to help making. So we have a villager difference of 4 right now, and it's going to turn into a village difference of another additional like 3 technically. So again, pretty big play. Being able to take this, it is technically fairly neutral spawning between the 2 TCs. So I like it. It's a good play. Kind of weird that like at this distance, it doesn't trigger the boon. So like this is really close. So that it doesn't trigger is kind of annoying, but it is going now. And behind this, you can see he's going rams. We also see a part of his army comp here. We see men-at-arms, we see spearmen, and we see barely any longbows. So now this is going to be a very heavy infantry-based army, and he's going mass men-at-arms actually. And I didn't realize he was going that many men-at-arms. Like I scouted it like here right about now, and I thought it was going to be he's going to start mixing in spears and longbows, but he just goes full committal onto men-at-arms. So we're kind of repositioning here. We need to get our up tier for Spear. We're getting Mangudai out, and we really need to start cranking out Keshiks and not horsemen so much. So I think this is one big mistake. Behind this also, we should have pulled a couple of villagers and dropped a couple more stables a bit sooner. So we do drop a couple of stables, but it's a little bit late. And this is kind of like that 10-minute push I'm talking about. He can have a couple rams, he can have around 20 army, and yeah, he's once they spot the second TC, and if he's single TC English, he's just gonna try to all in you. So behind this, we do have a 4 villager lead, it says right now, but it's 4 villager plus an additional basically 3. So we really have like a 7-8 villager lead right now, which is really big. And we have a really decent spread right now because we can drop constant production. We should have, again, like I said, had these stables done a little bit sooner because they're really tight for this push timing. Militarily, army value-wise, you can see he's about a 1k above us, but we do have a defensive posture here, a couple of towers, 2 TCs. We do have, we got our steeled arrow, so yeah, we get the +1 damage for our TC, which is really big, and it comes in right when he starts pushing us, which is really big. And we see the rams, so we're gonna bring up our forces, but behind this again, we have our what am I saying? Our stables going up, so we need to keep producing from our stables, and we do kind of mess up not building more tactics. And we do also a really bad job with the Mangudai here. We lose 2 Mangudai, 3 Mangudai, we lost another one over here. So we did a really bad job with the microing here. And part of it is because we were microing our TC and fighting our villagers here. But at this point, he's kind of in a weird spot because our second TC has survived. We're going to keep being able to produce units. Now he's got to ram this big town center, and he's got just mass man-at-arms, and we still have a really strong massive Keshiks here. The Keshiks of Mangudai. Again, really bad micro on our part. Part of it is a little bit of lag, part of it is just gameplay. But we are up to 3 stables now, so his mass men-at-arms are going to be pushed back really easily, and he's basically all in here. Hasn't been able to kill us, and he does a good job of noticing that from here is basically a losing battle. For us, luckily he just taps out because little does he know we only play cavalry, and our transition into castle and actually fully killing him is quite some time. So he does do a good job of doing a push there, but I think a big thing is that he was just way too committed to men-at-arms. And not that men-at-arms are bad at all, but I think a couple more longbows there, and he's in a little bit nicer spot. Or, I mean, if he was there with spearmen too, he would have absolutely destroyed our army. I would have had to go full Mangudai. But again, if he's spearman, he gets shredded. So it's a really hard push to do in a feudal age with that small mass. I think you really have to be taking your longbows and picking off in a lot of points there. Again, this is another match on marshlands. Again, a really good spawn off the rip. We have 5 sheep right next to our TC. So basically, our con is at this point free to. He's basically free to scout. He does not have to do anything specific here. We kill like 50 wood off the rip, food, villagers onto food, and villager onto coal. So we're going to look for an aggressive or a fast H2. We do notice that we ran by 2 sheep and they didn't click onto us. So we're going to do something about that. I am curious about his map, how he was running. Okay, so he ran up around his base, picked up 3 sheep, comes back, drops him off, and then he's going to scout forward. He hasn't dropped the sheep off. Okay, alright, he does drop the sheep off. Okay. Alright, so I was curious about that. There we go. This is on my vision, yes. Now we're just scouting up. We've only found those 2 sheep on our side, and he has ended up finding a couple more sheep over here. So he's sitting happy. Tang Dynasty for a Chinese player. I think he's got faster scouts. 1.62. 1.62. I thought they had faster scouts. Anywho, we see his scout, and we're just gonna drop our movement arrow, and we're gonna get a cutoff out here. And he does a really good job seeing our TC, and he sticks really tight to the tree line. I was hoping they were to snipe him here. I was ready to garrison all of these bills. And so he does a good job there. We are 9 on food now, 2 on gold, so we're transition villagers onto wood here shortly. And we ran out. We're able to create a cutoff angle and pick up these couple of sheep. And now he's running where we've already been. So basically, it's just not a waste of time, but he's not going to get any sheep here. There are a couple of sheep over here that we did miss, unfortunately. So we'll see if he takes that angle tight. And we're running into wood now behind this. Our opponent, let's see, he's got basically all of his villagers on food, 5 on wood. I'm surprised he's got so many on wood. I think there might have been a little bit of miss macro here somewhere. Or maybe it's because he went for the IO early. I guess it's safer going for IO. Oh, I forgot, yeah, he dropped barracks. Okay, so this is definitely... Yeah, I want to say this is a player that's been attacked by a lot of Mongol tower rushes. So he's sending spearmen over. He's gonna try to burn down our Ubu. And he's bringing his scout. His scout has only cut two more sheep. Meanwhile, we've been doing his side of the map and picked up like 6 more sheep. We're sitting pretty there, and we're going for our age up now. He's staying out of our TC range. Just a smart play on his part. And behind this, he's fully committed onto food, and he's going to have enough for age up here. So, again, we're just picking up sheep where we can, and we're just finishing scouting all the blacks on our map. See, there we are. And we're starting to tap up with a stable. Again, this is not the best reaction. 2 spearmen. It's just gonna make pushing him hard because he's got spearmen out, so we cancel it. Commit our villager back on wood. We're about to age up, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take all 4 bills and we're gonna build an archery range. 420 age up, and this should be up around 430. 435, I believe, something like that. So behind us, we're just building more villagers. We're rallying more villagers onto food here. 500 gold. And we have a range up and immediate double Mangudai production around 440-ish. So we do pull 1 villager from gold onto the Ubu, make sure it doesn't get on fire. No need to. He does notice this, sees that it's pretty much pointless for him to be here. He sees the range, so he just retreats. Behind this, he's walled off this side of the map. I didn't even realize he had these walls this early. I didn't even notice. He's got a super defensive base. Like, his TC covers basically 3 wood lines. His gold's fairly safe. His stone's fairly safe. So I guess that is a thing about marshland. You always spawn with safe resources. Which is good to know. It's interesting. So we're just scouting around the side of his base. We haven't scouted the northern side of his base at this point. We do see this sheep, but we're gonna go harass instead of picking up this sheep. We'll pick it up later. Behind us, we're building more Mangudai. Our first Mangudai is coming over, and we're gonna start harassing these villagers eventually. There we go. Damage per shot is not a lot, but it is doing some damage. So it's just a slow, steady trickle. Stable's about to finish, and we got, again, a lot of wood here. So we should be starting to really look to use this 150 wood. Every time you're at 150 wood, you should be building something. So he does try to build a tower. We're able to get a couple shots into the tower here. So if he cancels it, he's going to be in a bad spot. Yeah, he ends up canceling it, so we get 50 resources for free, which never hurts. 25 food, 25 gold. And we're just going to rotate to the top of the map. We should have fully committed to this rotation here. And he does build a tower outside of his TC range, so kind of a risky move here. But again, we're going to be able to deny a little bit here. We're getting more villager kills, or our first villager kill rather, but more villager damage in. We got 2 more Mangudai on the way, so committing to this Mangudai pressure can be really nice sometimes. And yeah, now that we've got a bigger mass of Mangudai, we're able to pick off 5 villagers here. So all of a sudden we're ahead 3 villagers, which is pretty big considering we are Mongols. Behind us, building Keshiks and building more Mangudai. We're trying to rally scouts on this other side to see what's happening. As you can see, our scout is checking it out and you're finding walls. I do kind of a bad mistake here in terms of not pressuring more. I mean, the tower is going to protect all of this, so maybe it's not a bad mistake, but I could have definitely, I have this small area right here in front of the GC. Can I select both of these? Yes, I have, right where his scout is at, I have a place where I can bring my Mangudai and start denying gold. Denying gold is not a bad thing, considering they have IOs. We do get the wild man stocks the land, so again, little mini game. Trying to find this wild man. We try to come forward. I don't think we take out a villager here. We might have taken out a villager here. Yeah, okay, we did take out 1 villager. And he's gonna try to build a tower here. So he pulls all of his vills. He's basically safe with these villagers. He's out of range, so he has to build so fast. So we do try to deny this, but we're only able to kill 1 villager and we have to fall back. So it is something at least. We do spot the wild man finally, and he's definitely he's pretty close to no man's land right here. This is pretty close to the middle of the map. Both players are able to reach it, but the big thing is we have map control. So again, one of these instances where I feel like it's not a terrible thing. This wild man, it kind of helps the aggro players a lot. You know, a player sitting behind his base, he's booming up. You can see like. Even though I've killed 7 villagers, somehow he's got 27 villagers. So I must have had idle time on my TC, I'm guessing. I thought I did a pretty good job on my idle time here, but I guess not. I don't know how he's... I wonder if it's bugged or something. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Okay, I'm curious actually now. 9:28. So at 9:58 there should be the next one. So yeah, I don't know how exactly we've killed 7 villagers and we have the same eco count right now. Maybe pirates because he's got IOs out. He's got 2 IOs, 3 IOs. Okay, so look at 9:28. So 9:48 would have been the next one. I guess I don't know. It feels like it's kind of weird. But I was able to kill so many vills. So I must have idled my TC a lot. Basically seven villagers worth. He's starting to take out this 1 vill, so we just fall back our villager, fall back our knights. Easy pick on this guy. So militarily, there's a huge difference. I guess I'll have to check it out a little bit again about my villager idle time here. I thought I did a really good job about that. I'm guessing part of it is because some of these villagers are IOs. He's got 1, 2, 3 IOs. So really he's at 29 villagers, which is 4 villager difference, but I've killed 7. So I don't know, that's kind of weird. So maybe that's something I gotta do a better job of my macroing. There should be like a 6-5 villager difference. I don't know, maybe it's the IOs. because they count as units, economic units. So maybe that's exactly what it is. I don't know. But anyways, behind this, we've built a tower here. We're getting the outpost. We're gonna put another tower onto this hole, get some vision, and then there's a bunch of berry bushes up here. So this is a food resources that you could definitely transition to next. Over here to the east, there really isn't food. He's gonna move to the west or to the southwest here to these deer. So we do rush this tower. You can tell with basically six cavalry units, you can almost burn down this outpost. If he doesn't have the spearman show up, I fully commit to just burning this down. Behind this, we're able to garrison. He gets these villagers garrisoned. We're just out of tower range, and we're in a really nice spot here. So we pick off a couple more villagers here, which is really good for us. He's pulling his military back, and he is starting to crank out some archers here. And we do kind of a risky move here, and we decide to dive because he is dropping the barrack from the sun here. We do decide to fully commit our cavalry here. I should have. These knights can't get onto this spearman, so I really should have fallen back and re-engaged here. I unfortunately lose these cav for almost nothing. I could have 100% burned down this barbecue in the sun, I think, with a little bit better microing. But on the plus side, we get a bunch of villager kills back here. And now we're talking about a 14 villager kills, 12 minutes into the game. There's a 10 villager difference, and a little bit more because he's actually got 1 IO. So it's an 11 villager difference. Behind here, we're building another tower to the north, and he's tapping up this barbecue in the sun. We have a decent mass for army here, but it's definitely not. I probably could have dived here. I don't know, just to delay it, because the barbecue in the sun is definitely gonna be an issue. It really secures this eastern side, which secures this stone and secures this gold for him. But either way, he's gonna need to go into food very shortly. So we just kind of respect the Barbican here and these double towers. We're unsure how much army he's at. He's only got 6 archers, so really we'd be fine dealing with this. In retrospect, it might have been worth to dive this and delay this a little bit more. Killing a couple more villagers would probably have been worth it. And something we'll notice is that our food is starting to float a ton. We don't have gold. Behind this, we are starting to trade. We did set up a market. Getting about 60 gold per trade, so it's a really good amount of gold we're starting to get here too. We are 6 traders, so we're in a really great spot here to go ahead. And we do have 18 villagers onto wood, so this garage needs to move up. But at this point, we're just gonna start macking villagers into food because we're in a good spot to push here. And we do have one of these villagers is the there he is, our wild man's boom. Over here we see that he's moving these villagers over here, so we're gonna re-rally our what's our goal for these, just so you can see the rally points. So I'm just rallying right now to the middle in front of his base, but we're rotating our army over. We do have about 15. He's got a ton of Chukunu, Zugunu, and a bunch of archers. He does see us coming, so he does a good job garrisoning these villas, trying to get some damage in. And we're just gonna commit to burning this here. We're able to get 1 villager kill here with the Mangudai, which is nice. We do have to fall back on this mass. This Keshik gets wrecked by Zugunu, but we're just gonna pull our horseman back and just start burning down this tower. When his Zugunu come out from behind the wall, we do engage in the fight here. We do bring up our Mangudai as well to start picking off Zugunu one by one. You do have to be a little bit careful because he's going to see this and he's going to focus on our Mangudai, and you can see how they just get absolutely shredded. But while he's doing that, he takes firepower off of our horseman. Ideally, he focuses our horseman before he focuses on Mangudai. But we know when he's focusing on Mangudai, he's giving our horseman free time. So we're okay with it. And we do have more horsemen on the way. We have a couple more units that we're rallying over here. And you can see finally we are changing our rally points. Except for our Mangudai over here. And we do have 10 horsemen out, and he's only got 3 souvenirs. So we're able to clean up this fight really well, and we're going to rotate onto this outpost. Behind this, he's kind of walled this area off, and if he's starting to boom back here, he's going to build a granary. So he's going to try to get back into this game, but at this point, he's lost 20 villagers, and we are market booming behind this. So we are up to 10 traders, and we're starting to look really, really good in terms of our wood and our villager count here in general. So we're in a really strong place here. Yeah, so this is, we're cleaning up this side, and our tower is up. And honestly, if we had a scout, we would be able to drop an arrow here and start picking off villagers. And he does tap out. I think he realizes that with this huge cavalry mass, there wasn't much he was going to be able to do. Once we burned down this gate, which was pretty much now, he would have to garrison a bunch of villages. We'd be able to run rampant over here, shut down his food. And once you shut down their food, there's nothing really that they can do. And you can see that he kind of overcommitted in terms of ranges, because he tried to crank out that mass as fast as he could. So it might have been worth him dropping more towers and like really securing that berry area, because there was 3 berry patches. So yeah, just 3 matches on marshlands. I'll try to get more matches in. It's just really been really laggy. It's really hard to play when it's like that. So kind of like discouraging. Not just difficult physically to play when it's lagging, because you can't really micro. Like your Mangudai, like you make a little bit of a mistake, they're dead. And if there's lag involved, like you can click it correctly, but it's not happening for 2 seconds later, and you're gonna lose them. And our gameplay, our game style is just so high risk, high reward that it doesn't. That's not really viable when it's laggy. So I'll try and get more games in, guys. I'll probably start working a little bit of a build order. I did see a video by Valdemir 1902. He's a really good player. I love his videos are really educational. He's got a really good setup, and since he does pretty much every civ, it's a really cool little thing he's got going there. He's doing a really good job teaching. But I saw one of his build orders with deer stones into trade boom, and it's an interesting play. I like doing it sometimes, like in this match, like this last match against China, is to throw that deer stones up. It really makes them think that you're not going for trade. It really makes them think that you're just gonna go for like a feud or like an all-in play, which is kind of what you're doing anyways when you're going trade. Um, but just making them not think that there's trade going on means that they're not scouting those markets really, or those points, and it can and as long as you have a delayed market and you do it behind the scenes and it doesn't get scouted out, it really makes the dividends that your trade can pay off a lot better. So yeah, just some build order stuff that I think I'm gonna be looking into a little bit. Um, we'll see where we're going from there, because tower rushing is pretty strong. Even like the drush, I feel like against some French opponents works pretty good. It's just a lot has to do with the elo and how they react. Like I think if you're like in gold or below, the horseman drush against like a French opponent is like 100% the thing to do, because they're usually not going to react properly. But if you're like in higher elos, it's kind of like toss up. Sometimes they react good, and other times they don't. And when they react good, you're just really behind, and you might be able to get some damage and some idle time in, but it's usually not worth what you've invested. So, um, yeah. In which case, it's actually better to have done a spearman rush instead of a horseman rush. So, um, yeah. So I don't know. Tower rush is definitely a good play as well. I just don't do it, but yeah, we'll see kind of what we do with build order stuff. Just because like there's a bunch of build orders that I just don't do, just because it's not my play style. But there's definitely some good build orders. I've definitely seen some couple of good tower rush plays that are definitely they pay for themselves in terms of how much harass and how much you throw a person off of their game plan. So um, yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna try to do my best to try to get some more videos in. I still am here in Peru for a couple more weeks, so yeah, we'll see where we go from there. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.